Hello everyone, welcome to Plush Events Office. We have here today our special guest, Mr. Kamal Imani. He is here to tell us or talk to us about relationships and also to share with us his new book. So Kamal Imani, welcome to Plush Events Office.
Thank you, Kim. It's glad to be here. I love the idea and concept of plush events, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Wonderful. So tell us more about your new book.
My new book is called Let's Bring Back the Butterflies. It's a conversation piece. It's excellent for table talks. It's not really about spilling tea and all of that kind of stuff and drama. It's about how to combat or disintegrate the drama. So, basically, you and your loved one, you can take the book, break it open, and find different pieces, different concepts that you can conversate about and do your best to be honest and respectful in communicating how you feel about those concepts. And also you can use it as a group. A group of people can talk about the concepts.
Okay.
And by doing this, it brings enlightenment, it brings awareness, it brings change, because the key to relationships is communication.
Right.
And the key to successful relationships, above and beyond communication, is honest communication. And when we can be honest with each other, we can go a long way.
So, Bringing Back the Butterflies, that's the name of the book.
Let's bring back the butterflies.
Let's bring back the butterflies. Yes. I wanted to talk to you about the whole concept of butterflies, right?
Yes.
So when you think about butterflies, you think about how you feel initially when you meet someone for the first time and you're excited, you're infatuated about this person, and you have these butterflies in your stomach because you're excited to see them, right?
Yes.
Now, is that really the foundation of a good relationship? Because what about those relationships who weren't built on the butterflies? Maybe the relationship was built on something else, like just a strong friendship or shared goals, and they built their relationship on something like that. So how important is having those butterflies in a relationship?
As you know, Kim, we're emotional creatures. And as emotional creatures, we experience joy and pain. And we're going to have to go through life with a partner. We don't have to, but if we choose to, we're going to go through life with a partner. That partner is going to experience joy and pain with us. So we don't want pain and pain. We want joy and pain. So when we meet someone who brings us joy, like Anita Baker said, you bring me joy, then that's the butterflies right there. So it's like I want to bring that person's joy with my joy and combine it. And that's the butterflies. And we can fly, we can transform, we can enjoy life together.
So the butterflies sort of change or transform over the duration of the relationship?
It's very probable, and that is because we cannot just go according to the emotions. We have to be wise enough to know that there will be distractions in life and obstacles in life. However, Western civilization has not prepared us thoroughly for the pitfalls of relationships, for the time when the honeymoon is over. And a lot of people, they plan big weddings. I've seen people blow $25,000 on weddings. I say blow because they were divorced a couple weeks later. And, honeymoons, taking trips all around the world and taking pictures, and they come back to reality. Even something small as the baby being born will change everything. Someone losing a job will change everything. Were you prepared for that? Western civilization hasn't prepared us for that. So we have to have joy and butterflies, but we also have to have the mindset that when things go wrong, how are we going to react? And are we going to remember the reasons that we got together in the first place?
So when you speak about butterflies, and as far as Western civilization is concerned, do you think that we get a lot of our ideals from television, movies, how we think we're supposed to behave or act within a relationship?
Yes. You have the Barbie dolls, Ken and Barbie. You have the young girls learning how to cook and dreaming about her ideal husband and her ideal home. And you have men, the boys, they learn about cars. And I want a car, I want a fast car. And then they learn in the cartoons and reality TV, etc. Soap operas, everything. You learn about, hey, I gotta have this girl and she has to be 36, 28, 36, and blonde hair or light skinned or whatever it is. And these become artificial ideals. And when any of these ideals break down, there is the problem because the society didn't teach us the solutions to the problems or that there would even be problems. Mm-hmm. They just make you think you live happily ever after. When I was younger as a teen, I would ask people, what's your purpose in life? And male and female, I'm going to go to college, finish college, then I'm going to graduate, get a good job at IBM, and I'll be with my husband or wife. We'll have the dog and the white picket fence, and that's it. We're going to be good. Mm-hmm. And I used to be like, right. Only because in my life I've seen various levels of struggle, and I didn't see too many people work out that way. I've seen a few, but the majority of people I did not see work out that way.
Right, because even in Western society, we have a very high rate of divorce.
Yes.
I think over 50% of people get divorced. Mm-hmm. Even within our spiritual communities, like church, for example, you have a lot of divorces happening. Even with our clergy, with our pastors, with our elders, even within the church. So how does that whole to even view that as someone who is a lay person or even someone who's in the congregation, when they see this happening on such a mass level, even within the spiritual community, how are they even supposed to have a grasp on how to have a good, solid relationship? Because it seems like they see failure all around them as far as commitment.
Right. Well, respectfully, I wouldn't say it's the spiritual community. That's a religious community, and therefore there's a lot of dogma.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the dogma.
What do you mean by dogma?
Dogma and ritual. Dogma just meaning the Bible says this, the Quran says that, the Torah says this, and this is the way you're to conduct your relationship. The woman is part of man's rib, and therefore she comes from him, and he's the man and of the house, and that's it. When things are changing constantly.
So,
well, excuse me, we were talking about the church.
Yes, and we need to segue back into that, because I believe that the church and also what we're experiencing as African Americans in this society really has a lot to do with each other. And I say this because we look to the church as our foundation for many things. And even especially in relationships and marriages. And so I think that, especially for our young men, I don't feel as though the church is even helping them to grow and develop into strong men so that they won't go down certain paths. And I say that because it's even very difficult to speak openly in church. It's very difficult for young men to talk about what's really going on with them, in church, because you always have to, act a certain way or ask only certain questions. Or maybe, your elders or pastors in the church, they have their own issues, so they're not even able to help guide our young men. So maybe that's the reason why they even struggle in relationships, because it seems like they're trying to get their knowledge about how to even operate in a relationship through church. And as you can see, even in church, you have a large number of divorces.
Right. And that's what I meant by dogma in a politics. Dogma meaning you're looking at a book and you're looking at the preacher, listening to the preacher, and those are external things. Okay? But what we need is internal self-examination, internal responses to external things. So when you lose your job, are you going to just cry for Jesus? And if Jesus doesn't come at a certain point, are you going to break down? Are you going to leave the church? Are you going to leave your family? Because now, he didn't come in time.
Right.
Or are you going to tap into the faith within yourself, the patience? They say, you got to say, now I need more patience. Now I need more faith. Now I need to be sweeter to my mate, and my mate needs to be sweeter with me, because this is a hard time.
Right.
This is a trial. Can you withstand the trials? Now, they'll talk about that in church and it will sound good, but you have to be able to internalize that when you're going through it, and your mate has to be able to understand.
And do you see that as a hindrance in many relationships, especially as far as the woman is concerned, even when the tables are turned? And the man, for example, has difficulty dealing with the powers that be, at his workplace, or even men who want to be entrepreneurs. And so it takes a lot of time and money to get their businesses up and running. And then their significant other is looking at them, how come you're not more than this? Or, not really understanding the weight of a situation that a man has to deal with even at his job. And so I think when you're dealing with all of those issues, it's kind of hard to maintain the butterflies. I think the butterflies tend to fly out the window when you're dealing with, like you said, socioeconomic issues, right?
Right. I believe that it's going to almost seem like I'm evading the question, but I believe that the woman has to know, and the man has to know, that they're each other's gifts from nature, from God, life, the universe, whatever you want to call it. So if he's your gift and he's having problems, the butterflies shouldn't totally go away, because he's not your problem. The issue is the problem. How do we resurrect, or how do we correct that issue and keep our relationship going? In other words, if you love Jesus, you're not going to stop loving Jesus, no matter what happens in your life.
Wow.
You're not going to stop loving Allah, Jehovah, no matter what happens in your life. Most people are not going to stop loving their mother.
Right.
Right? So why are you going to stop loving your man? Why are you going to stop loving your woman? Why are you going to stop loving your children? So that's, in my book, we talk about unconditional love. And it's like, if I'm not going to stop loving Jesus, I love Jesus, I still love you. I love what God gave me.
But reality is that we put conditions on each other.
Yeah, we do.
That's reality, right?
We do. But it doesn't have to be reality.
And I think that's the key point. How do we get to that point where that's no longer a reality, that we put conditions on each other, right? And many conditions can be, you're not sexy anymore, or you let yourself go physically. You gain weight, you're like 30 pounds heavier than you were when I married you. or you don't have the job that I think that you should have, or you're not making the money that I feel that you should be making, or so many other issues, and we put conditions on our relationships.
Right. That's a good question. One thing is, number one, if you feel like you're going to be happier by yourself, be by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But also by yourself, if you put if you don't need that person, right? Okay, they lost their job. He lost his job. Let's say, okay, he lost his job.
Mm-hmm.
You're mad at him because he lost his job, right? But without his job, you're gonna fall apart.
No.
Right. So if you're not gonna fall apart, then why be? Because you have something for yourself that you built.
Mm-hmm.
So why crucify him? In other words, like, you have to be together for yourself and you're bringing your leverage and your resources to the relationship. He's bringing his, and you both knew what it was in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So it can only go up or down, but you're planning on it going up. But sometimes things are going to go down. Now, when it goes down, you're going to fall apart.
But what if it stays down?
If it stays down and you're not happy, you need to, you got to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you come to the point where you got to go your separate ways, go your separate ways.
Mm-hmm.
If you just can't rectify it, But the funniest thing about it, you go your separate ways, and what about he finds a good job after that?
Mm-hmm.
Now you want him back?
Mm-hmm.
Or you see him in the future, he's balling and shot calling, now you want him back?
Right.
Because the only problem was money. It was really, if you were a little bit more patient or had a little bit more faith. But yeah, he's going to say, yeah, come on, baby, be a little bit more patient, have a little bit more faith, and yours runs out. Hey, we can't knock you for your patience running out.
Mm-hmm.
We can't knock you for your faith running out.
Mm-hmm.
But the key to this from the beginning is the ideal situation would be for both people to approach the relationship as friends and with a spiritual perspective of giving 100%,
Mm-hmm.
honoring their vows, not honoring them because the preacher said so,
Mm-hmm.
but because they love each other, and he said for better or for worse, or the Bible said it.
And I think that really is a great segue into the next topic, because many people, especially our young people coming up today, they don't even understand the meaning of vows and understanding vows, right?
Right.
And they don't even really have a strong concept as far as marriage is concerned. So they look at marriage from a biblical perspective, but then many of our young people find that the church is hypocritical in many instances. And so they're looking at media, television, movies to try to give them an idea of what a real relationship should be. So how do we help this younger generation coming up to really have solid relationships when they don't even have a real solid concept, as far as what to follow?
Again, it starts with self. If by yourself you don't even know to keep your own word,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Keep your word, like your word is who you are, your reputation is who you are. Most of them don't know that. They don't know that word is bond, and bond is life, and you should be an honorable person and a positive power in your community,
Mm-hmm.
in your family. So if your word means nothing and her word means nothing and you get together, everything's going to fall apart.
Right.
You have a horrible foundation, because the foundation first is moral.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say that, we're talking about honesty.
Okay.
That's the whole foundation is honesty, and that's what I mean by friends. True friends are honest with each other,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you're both honest, then everything, like, okay, you can set up the relationship like, I only like this, I don't like that, this is my strengths, This is my weaknesses. Well, are you going to build on that? You're going to try to change that? Can we work on that together? Can we work on it as a team? I hate when you do this. All right, can you please stop? As long as you talk to each other in a nice way, a respectful way, you can talk about anything and be totally honest. And you know what? Sometimes I feel like I want another woman. Sometimes I feel like I want another man. Sometimes I feel like you're not satisfying me here. Sometimes I feel like if you set that up in the beginning, or can we have other people? If you set it up honestly, you're good.
Right. Now, do you think that has a lot to do, though, with the breakdown of the traditional marriage, even within Western culture?
Yes. Because people are deceiving people. They're cheating. It's just deceiving. You're sneaking.
Right.
That's the problem. The preachers are sneaking around. So he's only in trouble because he snuck and he got caught. Now, the guy that says, I got 3 wives, or the guy that says, I'm single and I don't want a commitment right now, right? Or the female says, I'm single and I don't want a commitment right now. I just want to be friends or friends with benefits or whatever it's going to be. They're not sneaking.
Right.
They're not cheating. They're being honest. Now, if you fall in love with them and they tell you what it is, then that's your problem. You're trying to change somebody.
But in our culture, don't you think that we were raised to be monogamous with each other? But at the same time, many people have like this other side to them where they're trying to, get the butterflies again. And I think that a lot of times we try to go for that initial high in a relationship.
With someone else?
With someone else, because we no longer have it with the one that we were with. We let it go because of all the other conditions, because, life happening or, weight happening or job loss happening. So now, we don't have the butterflies, we don't have that excitement because life hits us. But now there's somebody else in the picture, and that person is able to give us these butterflies, right? So then we go, and that's the reason why many of us cheat and all of that. Now, you're saying when you feel as though you want to step out of the relationship that you should be honest with your spouse. But don't you think that many people feel they will lose their spouse, and so they really want to have their cake and eat it too?
Yeah. Well, why do you want out, but you don't want to lose your spouse?
Because you built so much.
But your spouse isn't satisfying you anymore.
But remember, in the Bible it says that, God hates divorce. So it's like, well, God hates divorce, so I need to stay married even though I'm not satisfied in my relationship.
Cheat either. Adultery. So you might as well come clean. But people want to hold on to something, like you said, cake and eat it too.
But do you think that we were built to be a monogamous breed? Do you think that people were meant to be monogamous? Or do you think that our culture kind of conditioned us that way?
I think it has a lot to do with culture. I really think that most men are polygamous, nature. But I do also believe in self-discipline and self-control. And that's if you say you're the only one for me, then you cut yourself out of that option of being polygamous, and you're a grown person, so you should be able to stay to your word again, your word and your commitment. And the same with a woman. But I don't think that most women are polygamous, but I think there's a great deal that have a strong sexual libido. And I think a lot of people are curious, and a lot of temptation comes. But I'm not a woman, so I don't know. But as a man, I feel men are polygamous from men I know, and from me, because like you have a cycle, we have a cycle of sperm development.
So I'm really not aware of that. I didn't know about that, the sperm cycle of a man. So certain times of the year, do you get more heightened as far as sexually?
Well, I would say it's more monthly.
Oh, really?
It might even be quicker than that.
Right.
When the sperm builds up and a release is needed.
Mm-hmm.
And if that release isn't met, a man will do almost anything. And that's why we don't want to get too deep, but
Right.
I'll say men will do many different things to get that release. And if he's in a relationship, and that's what he definitely needs to communicate that.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't communicate it properly or she doesn't understand it, he's going to go somewhere to get it.
So then it's really not him looking for the butterflies again.
No.
It is mainly just a physiological release.
Well, that's part of it. Now, there may be an emotional component because everyone needs, again, back to the beginning, joy, emotions. So, you might have a woman that just is ignoring us or just concerned about the bills or just concerned about the kids or just concerned about the in-laws or just concerned about her sick uncle or whatever, or the baby. And now we feel neglected. And here comes Patricia, and she's giving us all of that emotional stuff.
Right, like Becky with the good hair.
Yeah. She's our friend at the job or our friend at school or whatever it is, but she's filling in. See, nature abhors a void. Nature abhors a void. If your tooth is missing, it's going to try to fill something in there. If you get a scrape, something's going to come cover it in. If something's missing, nature's going to try to put something in there. And the law of attraction, you will even call for it, even if it's subconsciously. So, okay, she's at home, she's neglecting this aspect, but here comes somebody to say, hey, I got it for you. She's coming. Or that man, he's coming. Because you're saying, this is what I need.
So are you saying that when a man or woman cheats, it's their spouse's fault?
No, it's not. It's their fault that they cheated.
But their spouse has a role in them cheating.
Yeah.
Elaborate more on that.
If they're aware of it or not, because they're not being mindful of their partner's needs at all times. We're a unit now, so we have to be mindful. How are you? Is everything okay? Now that person has to be honest.
Right.
Now something's going to be wrong somewhere.
And that's where the breakdown comes in. Do you agree?
The lack of honesty.
And really on both parts. Because if one spouse doesn't say, are you okay? Is there something wrong? If even that initial conversation is not brought to the table, then the other spouse seems to just hold everything inside.
Right.
And so now there's this lack of communication.
Right.
But do you think that if one spouse initiated the conversation and said, is there something wrong? But what happens when the other spouse says, oh no, everything's okay? Because they don't want to face what's really happening in the relationship.
That's a prerequisite for destruction. That's gambling with your relationship. Because things could go very bad if not properly handled after that. Usually someone suppressing things will end up in an explosion at some point. And it's not good to bring up stuff in the past. And I know as men, we do not like that. We I'll speak for myself, damn near hate it. Because we feel...
Hate what again exactly?
Hate the fact that you're suppressing something, and we're thinking, okay, everything's good. Now I'm going to run out here and try to make her happy with the next goal. Because she said that was good, that's finished, right? Now I'm going to go out here and I'm going to work and hustle and dream and visualize and pray and keep the faith and try to do this, because one day I'm going to bring her something home and make her happy. Get her that new house, that new car, that new this, that, I'm going to take her out and buy something for this. And Then this argument comes, and it's, well, remember last month when you, huh? I thought we was good. Well, you always do that, but I thought we discussed this.
Right.
Well, remember last year when we going back to, you mad about last year?
So the core issue was never dealt with.
Right.
And so as a man, that is something that really could deteriorate a relationship.
Yes, and it's almost like when I say cheating is deception, it's like a form of cheating. It's you're hiding something from me. You have been hiding something for how long? It's like a snake in the grass, just sitting. What's going on? I thought the butterflies was back, or I thought you and I were cool when we had our goals and we were mutually focused. But now I find out that you got something else going on in your world that I knew nothing about. I'm being honest with you. And it could go both ways, but I'm just saying. Anyone holding stuff in, that's like a time bomb.
And I really think that is the key. Like you said, when you hold things in and you choose not to communicate what's going on with you with your spouse. And I think that really is the main reason why there's a breakdown in the relationship. But do you think that people aren't honest because of some type of fear?
Yes, but the thing is, we both have to, once again, learn and practice reacting to the honesty in ways when we're not exploding.
Right.
It's not, see, everything I'm saying isn't the ideal way of, like I'm not talking about we're going to all have perfect relationships. It's a practice. It's a practice, and we have to remember, I shouldn't act like that, or I did act like that. Now I'm sorry because I know better, because we both decided not to respond that way. I got to pull myself back and say I shouldn't be reacting this way. So if she knows I'm going to react in a understanding way, a peaceful way, then she should feel that she can communicate that to me.
Right. Now, do you think that the way we act, though, is a learned behavior, and that we also have to be taught how to react when?
Because we have layers of issues. There's abuse in our community. There's poverty. There's molestation. There's so many things. There's rejection, depression, and when we meet someone, it's kind of like Erica Badu said, the bag lady. Some people are carrying a lot of bags, men and women. So, we have to be understanding. It's not even an excuse. It's real that the person I love got issues. I got issues. She got issues. Okay, so we gotta know that from the jump. Now we gotta try to be careful not to let our issues affect each other, and when those things, like Sister Ava Muhammad from the Nation said once, Satan can come out of anyone at any time. Right? Any one of us can get ugly at any time. And sometimes you gotta say, okay, that person, we don't usually act like that. So I gotta be cool and just let this, see what's going on, let it play out, see what's going to happen here. And then maybe when this person calms down, I'll try to talk to him and see what's going on. But of course, when that happens, when Leviathan rears his head, you go, is it me? And then see, that's the part that gets the brothers I know upset. Is it me? Because I thought everything was fine. Did I do something wrong again? I don't know, because you're not telling me. Refrain to that, because something came up.
Okay, because you were saying how when the woman approaches her spouse, but she does it in a forceful way, antagonistic way.
Thank you. In my book, I even have this word in bold: stop. You know what that means? That means It's me and you one-on-one against the world, like Houdini the rap group said.
Mm-hmm.
Me and you one-on-one against the world. Okay, stop. You and I are now building from zero a brand new relationship. Whatever you learned over there,
Mm-hmm.
whatever I learned over there, how to pop my neck and talk junk and raise my voice and be nasty. Not that I still don't do it. I try not to, but it comes out.
Right.
But whatever I learned, no, this is you and me now.
But I mean, it seems like that's easier said than done, because it seems like we are a sum of all of our
But
experiences.
it has to be done if we want the relationship to survive. Sometimes it takes cutting some relatives off, cutting some friends off.
But who do we draw from? Because I think just as human beings, we tend to, look to others as, a source of what to draw from. How even our behaviors, our mannerisms, how we treat each other. It seems like it's kind of difficult to take everything that we've experienced, even, the sum of our whole lives, and say, okay, well, this is how my mother treated my father, but I'm not going to treat my spouse that way, even though it's something that was in my life from the time that I was a little girl. So how do you kind of just get rid of that and then start new and start fresh? It seems like it's very difficult.
It's difficult. This is a practice. Relationship is a practice. How much do you value your partner in your relationship? If you don't, you can leave. But if you do, then you have to change.
I think that's the key, and I think that's where a lot of the problems come in, is that people don't even want to admit that they have to change.
Yeah. Am I not worth you changing for me? And vice versa.
But a lot of people think, there's nothing wrong with me, it's something wrong with him.
Yeah, well, I teach kids all the time, and I tell them, point the finger at yourself and take responsibility for yourself. It goes all the way up to adults, but that's childish. We're grown. See, we need to get married as adults, and if we don't, we need to become adults quickly, because it's adult business.
So do you think that when a couple breaks up, that it's never only one person's fault? If a couple breaks up, do you think that they equally had a responsibility in that breakup?
I think every situation is different. I mean, law of physics says when two things come together and they leave, you take a part of each. I mean, we were both playing this game together. We were in this situation together, so we probably both made mistakes. But there's one person that was more dissatisfied than the other. So I don't think there should be blame. Because again, when you first got back together, those butterflies was there. Nobody was blaming nobody for all the good stuff. It's just we let the bad stuff get out of control and overwhelm us.
I wanted to go back to what you said as far as men being polyamorous or polygamous, right?
The cycle.
Right. Now, you know how a lot of women say all men cheat. So, I mean, do you agree with that?
No.
But you're saying that you believe that men, tend to want to be with more than one woman, that they really weren't created to be monogamous. So aren't we kind of forcing men into a situation that's unnatural for them with monogamy?
And for the most part, I wouldn't say forcing. It's kind of optional. I mean, I'm saying from a physical perspective, we have a build-up. That's the physical. And then we talked about the emotional. We want emotions too. We love our mommy, so we're going to love our wife. Right? From the physical perspective, when it's time, we're ready. And our spouse should be able to satisfy. Now, a spouse might be out on a time of the month and doesn't want to participate, or might be pregnant, might whatever, might be busy. So at that point, do we have self-control? Self-control, I wouldn't say I'm forced to have self-control because I love her. And I made a vow and a commitment to be with her. I accepted her as God's gift to me. That's joyous.
Mm-hmm. But I think a lot of men would say, I still love my wife. Just because I cheated on her doesn't mean I don't love her. It was just a physical need that I had to release.
Well, that goes into the definition of love. They love their wife, meaning they're emotional about her, they're attracted to her, they're glad she's been part of their lives and doing all these wonderful things for them. That's what he loves. But to deceive her is not to love her. So right there they just lie. I love her, but I'm going to cheat. They said, you love her, but your physical nature wants somebody else.
But if you believe that we were not created to be a monogamous people, don't you think that it's asking the man a lot to be faithful, especially if they're with a woman for the past 25 years? That for 25 years, if I wasn't made to be monogamous, but in 25 years, I'm just with this one woman, it seems like we're asking a lot of each other.
Can that one woman satisfy you just as much as 2 or 3 or 4 women can? And make you happy just as much as you running around with other women can?
But maybe the man doesn't think she can.
But some men do, some men don't.
But what do you do with the man who feels that she can't?
Well, what did he get married for?
Maybe for the past 15 years or so, it was fine. She was able to satisfy him. But after that, it's like, this is really what I wasn't meant to do anyway. I did it for 15 years. I was able to control this sexual appetite that I have for 15 years. And I just don't want to control it anymore.
If you can control it for 15 years, you can control it for another 15 years. Now I can see if it was 1 year, 2 years, and this is my opinion, if it was 1 year, 2 years, and you just sow your oats, and say, oh my God, look at all these women I'm meeting now. Why did I get married? I made a mistake early on.
Mm-hmm.
But number one, you should have a goal that you're so focused on that you ain't worried about running around with other women. Number two, you both should have mutual goals that you're focused on. And I think the joy of life is in being a team and having a quest and going after that, supporting each other and things like that. Now, I know what you're saying because a lot of people do break up because the grass looks green on the other side and they want to try. Men have told me, I'm tired of the same old thing. Mm-hmm. I want a new thing. But I have learned from an elder that he said, that's his opinion, but I agree for the most part. Mm-hmm. All P is the same. Mm. It's really all the same. What you gonna do, like after the orgasm? What? Mm-hmm. So okay, let's bring back the butterflies. I guess that'll be the next book. Life after the orgasm. Okay, so you left Sharonda, you went with Shanika. Now you got an orgasm. Now what? Oh, she was good, but you got a family at home. But Sharon Shanika was good, but you got a family at home. Mm-hmm. You could have did that at home. What's the big difference? Well, whatever she's doing that she ain't doing, you need to talk to her about. And talk to her before you jump out. Because she does this more, or does this different, or does this position. Well, talk to her before you do it.
So then that goes right back to honesty.
Yeah.
In a relationship, basically.
Yes.
Now, what if the man is so honest that he tells his wife, listen, I want to experience something different. I love you, but I need a open pass.
Well, she's probably going to flip out and it's going to be end of the relationship. because we're Western minded. And he should have did that early on. Again, so I think what my book is about and my philosophy is early on, straight up in the beginning.
But what about those couples who have been married for so long and then the man decides to cheat?
He's just greedy. Like, what about him? Like, what do you mean?
Because you were saying be open and honest early on in the beginning.
Yeah.
And maybe in the beginning of the relationship he was good. Maybe even after the first 10 years in the relationship he was good. But he sees her, somebody else, she's attractive, she's giving him the attention that he desires, fulfilling his needs emotionally, she's eye candy or whatever. And he's like, I just needed something different.
So what about him? What's the question?
Do you give him a pass?
Does who give him a pass?
Does his wife? Should his wife say, I forgive you, I understand, and we're gonna stay together and we're gonna make it work? Or should his wife say, well, you deceived me, I can no longer trust you, and this marriage needs to be over?
I guess that's up to her. You probably answer that question better than me. But if I was to put myself in a woman's shoes, I think I'm all that, and I'm doing everything for you. There ain't no need for you to leave for no chick. And you should have just told me.
But what if you were the one who cheated? Like, should she forgive you and continue in the marriage, or should she say, this isn't working because you deceived me?
It depends on the person. Could she really forgive? I don't know if she could really forgive. I wouldn't forgive somebody like that because I would never trust them again. And sometimes I'm getting ready to lay down with her and I'm thinking, Dexter St. Jocks is on top of her in my imagination. So I can't do it.
Right. But then that goes back to the whole monogamy thing. It's like if you believe that we weren't created to be monogamous, but yet you wouldn't forgive if she cheated, it's sort of going against each other.
I think we have a lower self and a higher self. And the key to relationships is spirituality. Spirituality, self-examination, self-elevation, self-transformation, resurrection. Our goal should be to be spiritual giants. Our goal should be self-mastery. So we should be able to master ourselves to the point where that's not, cheating isn't something that should really happen. If those are your goals. But if your goal is just to get married and have a honeymoon, raise some kids, and retire, that's mundane goals, which are fine. But now you see Belinda, and you want to jump in her. Well, you just don't have any self-mastery. When I say monogamy and polygamy, these are concepts, and I just believe physically that's the case. But again, because there's 4 months go by, and I got big urges once every 4 months, and 4 different women come when I have those urges, do I need those 4 different women? Or if I still have that one woman when I have those urges, can I just be satisfied with her? So polygamy might not be the word, but what I'm trying to say when I say that is that we have a cycle, for sure. Now, there may be something that is primitive in us, whereas we were going out to war, we were going to different lands, different villages, we're far away from home, here comes a woman. So we did what we did, and maybe we didn't control our urges because we were away. So this is why I say we're polygamous. But can we control it if we desire to? Yes.
But do you think that is fighting against our nature?
Well, yeah, but I think everything is a fight. Because if we didn't fight against it, what are we going to do? Have 100 children from 100 women? So that's where, you know, prophets and sages and people, lawmakers came in and tried to show us you can't just do every damn thing you want. I mean, you know, if that's what everybody wants to do, everybody wants 100 babies from 100 women, and women want 100 babies from 100 men, or whatever the case may be, then that's what the world's going to be like. And maybe that's right. Maybe it's wrong. I don't know. But I just do know that the higher metaphysics and spiritual laws and customs and cultures, they practice self-control. And self-control is actually a beautiful thing when you master yourself. And see, our kids get mad at our men that cheat on their wives because, like, damn, Dad, you knew you was going to hurt her. You knew you was going to hurt us. You didn't have enough control not to just go do that with her. The little kids look at it like it's childish. Why'd you have to go do that? You got everything at home, Daddy.
Right.
Oh, because I'm polygamous. Now that sounds like a joke. Sounds like a joke. You should have said it from the beginning. I will have different babies from different women. Take care of everybody. They're still your brothers and sisters. From the beginning.
So you agree with some cultures that practice polygamy?
As long as it's honest, out in the front, and it's not forced on people. It's like, oh, the little 16-year-old or 30-year-old, I'm the king, I want her. I don't think that's right. Or the arranged marriages, I don't think that's right. You know, I understand there's some science to it, but in terms of people's emotions and spirituality and joy, and then letting them find the butterflies on their own, I don't think you stick somebody in front of them and say, this is who you're going to be with for the rest of your life. But I believe it has its place, and I believe that if we weren't so westernized, we could be able to do that here, because it's not, see, we think about sex so much in America, like sex is a god. Like you just gotta have sex or else, I don't know. And we're just very over-sexualized. So if your sister loses her husband, she got 3 kids, she moves in your house, your husband can become her quote-unquote husband. He don't necessarily got to touch her. She don't got to touch him. But he's taking care of the kids, and he's taking care of her. Now, it's whatever you want it to be. That's how it was in African culture.
But in African culture, wasn't there arranged marriages as well?
And, well, certain tribes, yes. Well, Africa's, huge. So different situations and different tribes. I'm not an expert to speak on that like that. Okay. But, yeah, so what I'm saying is, like, here in America, it's like they're practicing polygamy and polygyny anyway. Everybody's cheating on everybody, almost, right? So you're doing it anyway. So, like I went to a funeral, the man had a couple baby mamas there at the funeral. He's dead. A couple baby mamas there with the children. But I'm just saying, why baby mamas instead of wives? You all know about each other.
Right.
Instead of whatever, if you get along or don't get along, just bring it a little closer and make it a family. Why not?
And I think that goes back to us being culturalized, right? This Western civilization, the culture that they push on us, we're supposed to only have one husband, one wife, a few children, that nuclear family. But it was the laws, right, of Western civilization that said it's illegal to be married to more than one woman.
That's right.
So now in this society, once again, we kind of have to, push down those natural tendencies that we have. And so I think that's my issue also, is that, we tend to do and be and behave the way our culture dictates to us, instead of having the autonomy and the freedom to be who we want to be who we choose to be. Because I think even for some men, they have grown up in this society which tells them, you're supposed to get married, you're supposed to have one wife, a few children, be in that nuclear family. Where if they were in a different culture, right, in a different country, it would be totally different.
Right.
So are we just the sum of,
the Matrix?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, we are. But again, I think the solution to that is the honesty in the beginning. Okay, we're here in the West, and the West says this was the way you do it. But we don't have to do it that way if we're honest and the people agree to the situation that we set up. Because I know of people who are in all kind of different situations. Some people wife swap and husband swap. I ain't down with that, but that's what they do. Some people friends with benefits, and some people got more than one wife, and I just know a lot of different situations. But most of the situations I'm talking about, they're adults and they agreed upon it.
So you agree with open marriages?
That's for them, yeah. Not for me.
Right.
No, I'm not down with that.
But anyone who says, if you have two adults who are married and they both agree to have an open relationship, you don't see anything wrong with that?
No, that's their business. If they feel it could work, it might not work. They know they're taking a risk. It's all a risk. Just the two people is a risk. If you're a risk taker and you feel that you might be able to both survive it all and enjoy it all, go right ahead. That's your business.
Wow. All right. So, Kamal Imani, thank you so much for coming out to Plush Events office. I'm sure my audience out there enjoyed our conversation. And tell us one more time, where can we find your book?
You can find my book on lulu.com, LULU.com, and other fine stores. Just search in Google. It should be on Amazon now.
And what's the name of it again?
Let's Bring Back the Butterflies.
Let's Bring Back the Butterflies. So everyone, make sure you go out and get that book. And I will see you at the next Plush Events, February 24th, 2018, at Chill, Montclair, New Jersey. Unapologetically beautiful. Stay tuned for more information. You could go to plushevents.com, PLUSHH events.com for more information. Thank you.